Thank you, Lord Mayor. I must confess, Lord Mayor, I'm a little confused by the last comments that somehow opening bus lanes would have a floodgate scenario. Private hire drivers work on jobs, and those jobs primarily are either through Uber apps or Bolt apps or any other mobile phone app. So I don't understand why having a bus lane open to private hire drivers will naturally have an influx of vehicles coming into Birmingham. It just doesn't make sense to me. But let me just address in general the comments from the Labour group. It seems, Lord Mayor, that the Labour Party in Birmingham are very sympathetic to private hire drivers, very sympathetic. And they support the work they do, the great work they have done during the pandemic period. But guess what? We're not going to give them the benefit of making trips into the city centre or trips to the hospital at peak times any easier. We're going to prevent them from doing that. And it's a shame, really, because, you know, Councillor Clement said that this is some sort of political stunt. Well, let me assure you, Lord Mayor, this is no stunt, but it's political. It's very political, because that's what politicians are elected to do, drive forward policies. And they may support our policy and motion today, they may reject it, but ultimately it is political. But let me just leave this council and colleagues in this chamber with a motion that was presented at Bedford Borough Council by the Labour group, incidentally. And that council was actually supporting the retention of private hire drivers using bus lanes. And this is what they said. They said, on behalf of Bedford Borough Labour Group, we're writing to express our deep concern and opposition to the proposed changes to the road bus lane, extending journey times for taxi and private hire passengers, including those who need to rely on these services for essential travel, such as hospital appointments, increasing the costs of taxi and private hire fares, which would disproportionately impact people on low incomes. So here, Lord Mayor, we have a council that are doing exactly the opposite to what this Labour administration wants to do. They don't even want to analyse the protection that we can give to members of our community in the city ward. Councillor Zafar mentioned about reducing pollution. People in the city, working in the city centre, of course, are benefiting from the less emissions and greenhouse impacts and the sort of pollutants that come out of vehicles. But what about inner city areas where that congestion is visible? You only have to drive out of the city centre, go along the Walsall Road where you see an empty bus lane and you've got 50 cars parked on the outer lane. If 10 of those are private hire vehicles and they switch lanes into the bus lane, not only do they reduce the amount of vehicles piled up, they reduce the amount of congestion. And it's the inner city areas that suffer from the highest respiratory problems. Children in our school. And as I invite some of these inner city councillors to certainly pay a visit to their local GP. Ask your GP about the respiratory problems that your children in your wards face. And then tell me that this policy does not benefit them. Because, Lord Mayor, it does. How many private hire drivers now operate hybrid cars? It's only a matter of time that they will move to greener and more efficient vehicles. Are we seriously saying that we're going to disadvantage them and prevent them from accessing bus lanes when there's an insignificant time difference? Because when you look at peak times and if you travel by public transport, and I have, and I do, what you find is that there are bottlenecks. There are bottlenecks at every junction where the bus lane merges into the main traffic. And if you are not prepared to reduce the traffic in general, then whatever you provide a bus in terms of its journey along the long stretch will come to a bottleneck. And our motion is one that supports not only efficiency in every respect, it reduces pollution and it gets rid of some of the health problems that inner city areas face. So it is political, Lord Mayor, it's not a stunt. And the Labour Party can support it or not, but the electorate will know where they stand. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Yeah.